What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions, and I think the ringer just stopped. So the market's officially closed. There's still, I believe, 2 hours left for aftermarket hours. But I hope you guys ended the day on a green note. I know for the members within our group, had an extremely just difficult time with today because of the news that was coming out with JNUG. So that was an ETF that we were trading. And overall, not a lot of people did very well, especially because I think they bought in too early. I did talk about JNUG as of trading it from yesterday, and I was able to sell to cut my losses pretty short, and then we jumped back into it later on. I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I start sharing my screen, but I really want to focus on one specific topic today for our recap, right? And today's day 3 for the $1,000 challenge, and I do apologize again for the 3rd day in a row. Robinhood has not unrestricted my account. I messaged them, they unrestricted it, but the day trades are still present, and they officially get removed, according to them, tomorrow off of my account, since they weren't able to remove that. So hopefully I can officially actually day trade as of tomorrow with my actual Robinhood account that has the $1,000. But unfortunately, today I had to trade with my Fidelity account. Ended up chasing JNUG a couple times. I did pretty well, and right now I'm still up. I jumped back into it when it was at $5.80. I'm gonna just start sharing my screen and start talking to you guys while I explain everything. So give me one quick second. I'm using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform, so I hope you guys find this useful. And I'm going to make a video about how you guys can actually have access to this TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform for free. And pretty much what I like to see, I have the level 2 right here, so it has the bids, it has the ask. Right now, we saw that there was quite a bit of a resistance here at 595. There was a overall strong resistance here at 590. And if we go a little bit further back, so let's actually zoom out a little bit and see that big drop that JNUG took today. There was a really strong support yesterday at $6.30, and it was bouncing yesterday, totally fine at $6.30. So let's actually see that. Let me zoom out a little bit more so you guys can get a better look. This was the support, $6.30, $6.40 after market hours, held just fine. Pre-market hours, just because again the tension right now within the United States and our economy took a huge nosedive all the way to lows of about 606, if I'm not mistaken, and during pre-market hours hit highs of $6.34. And then when the market opened, ended up hitting lows of about like 619, and then popped right back through to about that same exact resistance. And I'm going to zoom in just so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. And this is why I use the indicator of the resistance during pre-market hours to almost in a sense, identify a resistance during when the market opens. Because if you see it peaked out here at $6.34, and this exact peak, reflected at $6.34. And if you look at my RSI, as you guys can see right here, the 30 and the 70, if you guys don't know what RSI is, we did upload a helpful video explaining and elaborating a little bit more on that topic. But again, RSI right here showed it nearly touching 70, so it was more on the sell point, right? And that's essentially why I set a stop loss there. It continued to dive on down, especially after it broke the 620 support, the 610 support, and then that $6 support that led to a huge just down, what do you want to call it? Like down, just a downward trend, right? Ended up hitting lows of about $5.62 initially, came back up, hit that resistance at 590, and then started staircasing down and hit that low again of $5.61. So it first set its support, right? Came back up to its resistance at 590, and we were going to identify that as a resistance. I kept shutting it out to make sure you follow with the trailing stop loss for those that followed with a stop loss, because if you think about it, again, for our $1,000 challenge, it's all about waiting for the bounce. Although JNUG wasn't having an amazing day, especially with how it opened. And that really doesn't matter for us day traders. All you need to identify is a support, a resistance, and have a plan and where you're going to cut your losses. So if you identify, the 630, the $5.61 as a support, it bounces, you're able to get in at 570, and you understand that there's a resistance here at 590. Well, that margin of profit is, in a sense, 20 cents. And when you're trading a $5 stock, that's nearly your $2 and, or 2.33% growth that you need to hit per day to lock in that steady profit to convert, those $1,000 to $20,000. So we did just that. As I continued to staircase down, I was telling the team, look, realistically, although JNUG is having a bad day, set up a plan. Look what you need to hit to achieve your goal of 2.33%. And in doing so, you really just need to identify that, okay, the old support was around here at 560. So where is it most likely going to bounce? Well, most likely around 560, right? So your plan can be is, I buy anything above 560, I sell anything around 585 to 590. And ideally, that's what a lot of our members did. A lot of people said, okay, yeah, I really do identify that as a good trade. And using these different indicators of, again, the RSI, if you look around this 560 area, it almost shows it to be, oversold, right? So it's considered a good buy, especially when it took this huge dip. It definitely took a huge dip to an RSI of about 5, what does it show? 5.3. So that's an extremely low RSI, meaning that that's a good indicator for a solid bounce. Not only did we see that, but the EMA line also showed that once it broke above 570, it now showed signs of above EMA. So now we have that sign of above EMA showing upward momentum. We have the RSI indicator showing, that it's going to most likely pop and bounce back up. And then overall, knowing, in sense trends of JNUG, it tends to bounce pretty well and hold above $6. So your trade and your risk management, right? Identifying that the profit or the risk for profit is a lot greater for the risk of loss. And that's initially what we were trying to set up today. A lot of traders were able to lock in profit, although a good amount of traders rode it all the way down. And again, it's about cutting losses short and jumping back in the bounce and being quick, making sure that you don't get emotional, you don't, hope for the best, that you can either just break even. It's you cut your losses at below the support or anything less than 2.5%. At least that's what I do. So that's my own opinion. And in no way do you guys have to do that. But then with that, you can jump back in at a lower buy point and then ride it up rather than trying to break even. Now, during the closing hours, let's see if it actually lets me get a little bit closer. We can see that it had that same bounce of around $5.65, hit that resistance initially at 590, and then now it's currently after market hours. If you can see this gray area, has a pretty strong support at 585. So we're most likely going to see a trend from the 585 to 595 as long as these candlesticks continue to hold above this 585 resistance. But again, the whole purpose and the whole thing that I want you guys to focus on for today's trading is, although a stock might show a downward trend and might show, overall with, how much it's lost today, you as a day trader have to identify that you're not going to be holding these stocks or these ETFs for a very long time. So it's all about catching them at the bounce, setting up a plan on where there's support, where there's resistance, and being quick about it, making sure that you don't let your emotions come into play, and you use these different indicators as in the RSI and EMA to identify, okay, it's a good time to sell because the RSI is getting close to, 70, and the EMA is about to cross, meaning that's going to show a downward trend. And being able to, implement and use that is truly what I think can lead to a greater success rate when you have these strict rules and these guidelines that you have to go by to make sure that overall you have a longer or a more successful track sheet when it comes to trading. Let's see, is there any questions that?
Yeah, a few.
Okay.
The first one is.
So we have Justin right here. He's going to be reading out a couple questions that you guys are asking right now, just because of my inability to day trade with my Robinhood account for this $1,000 to $20,000 challenge. I want to make sure that that doesn't inhibit me not being able to communicate with you guys. And I tried to really do a better job today, answering some of your questions and responding as quick as I could. So I hope you guys saw that today.
The first one is, can you please explain the green, red, and black full and outlined candlesticks? They are very confusing.
Okay, so, the green and the red and the what?
Green, red, and black full and outline candlesticks.
Okay, we made a video, or I made a video specifically on how to read the Japanese candlesticks, and that's under my helpful video playlist. So I do want to make sure that I send you that way first, and then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me personally through the TechBud Solutions group chat, or once you join TechBud Solutions, you can message me through the Facebook platform. Just post it, and then I can respond there. You can have any of the moderators respond there.
Would you guys recommend turning off instant settlement in Robinhood?
So instant
settlement.
So the instant the margin account?
No, I think it has to do with the settlement of funds after you've made the trade.
Correct. Going from Robinhood Instant to like a Robinhood cash account, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So it really depends on what kind of trader you are. So with this $1,000 challenge, because of a majority of our traders are trading with the Robinhood cash account, that's why I mean a Robinhood margin account. That's why I went with that Robinhood Instant, right? Because the amount that I'm going to be risking, again, the $1,000, I see it to be more realistic for me to trade $1,000, 3 days a week and see more growth, when it's compounding, rather than trading with, if I have $1,000, trading with, what is that, $333 every single time I trade, and trying to hit the same target of the $20,000. It's going to be a lot more difficult, especially when it comes down to compounding interest.
Can you show us how to have both the RSI and EMA indicator in the Thinkorswim platform?
Yeah, I mean, I have it on mine. I really just went to, if you click here and click on studies, you click on edit studies, and I have the RSI and the momentum, and this is SMA. So, and then the RSI, you just add them simply by going to the studies and then click edit studies. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry. All right, so when you go to the Thinkorswim platform, you click on studies, you click on edit studies, and then the RSI and the momentum you can just search for them here, and then it just adds them, and then that's pretty much it. You click OK, and then they show up right there. All right.
Where can I find the page you made about tracking the trades? All
right, so if you guys haven't seen that, that's a really good question, because a lot of you guys have been asking, because I posted it on the TechBud Solutions platform, and I do want to let you guys know, when you guys search TechBud Solutions on Facebook, there's going to be two different platforms. There's going to be the group, where right now we're a little bit over 7,000 members, and then there's just the page where you can like our page. The main one that we posted on is where the 7,000 members are, but it gets lost because of all the different posts that are being shared there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to post it on the TechBud Solutions group where you can like it, and you can simply just search it up on the Facebook group. You can like it, and then you'll have access to the links, and then to the Excel sheet, so you can track your trades and stuff like that. I definitely think that's going to be a very useful tool for any member, right? Both experienced or new, just so you can set a goal yearly, monthly, and daily, and so you can stay on track on because I created, in a sense, the Excel sheet to, once you input how much you made that month, it'll tell you if you're up or below your target quota for that month, and how much you need to make up, or if you have a cushion on that month. So I definitely think that's going to be a useful tool for you guys.
ELI, Cleveland Biolabs.
Yeah.
Can you pull it up real quick?
They're telling me to do a technical analysis?
Yeah, just take a look at it real quick.
All right. CBLI?
Yeah.
All right. But it looks like it had bounced today.
Yeah.
320. Wow, it's way too high. What is that? 45% today? Hit resistance at 555, and it's trading between, what is that, $5 and $5.26. So it's about 5% profit margin. When you talk about the current price and you look at these RSI indicators, the EMA, if you can see these bounces, I'm like, look at my cursor. I'm sorry, look at my cursor right here. You can see this is, again, the SMA. You can see that these bounces that it's having are a lot smaller, meaning that it's slowly starting to plateau, and then you're going to see most likely a break below the $5 support, and going to see a downward trend. So although it did have a nice rise, it was a steady rise throughout the entire day. I think if you didn't really catch it within these lower points, you're most likely, if you try to jump in right now, it would be more likely, with the days to follow, to try to catch bounces like these than anything, for this to continue rising. So realistically, I don't see this to continue seeing a steady growth. But let's go a little bit further back. Yeah, so it has rises, it declines, right? It goes back to where so I'd say a support would most likely be around, after it breaks below $5, for support to be around 475, just because this old resistance it had was around that area. So once it breaks below that, hopefully we'll see a bounce there. But it does have margin for profit, but does it have that 10% target potential? Not necessarily, especially at this price point where it's at. So if we get a little bit closer, again, use every indicator that you can to identify it's a good buy. If you look at this RSI indicator, it's kind of in the middle, right? It's kind of indecisive just because during these lower points right here, if you can see when it's at 30 or sub 30 for RSI, it was around this $3, $3.20 range. Now it's nearly almost double here at this $5 to $5.50 range. So I think it's actually a little bit too high, especially where we're at in the market, being after market hours. I think we'd only be seeing, if anything, a 5% growth or less, or a downward trend. All right.
One more. Can you do a technical analysis of BAC, Bank of America?
I actually was looking at that one. I don't always see like a huge amount of volume.
Yeah,
it's a couple of times that I've actually heard really bad things about Bank of America.
Yeah.
Especially recently. I'm not 100% sure. Let me start sharing my screen. All right, so if we look at Bank of America in the past couple of days on how it's been trading, I've consistently seen that there's what I was hearing was that they have a lot of like lawsuits, I think, going on, and with their I don't know exactly too much, but overall with long term, like for Bank of America, I don't see it doing too well, especially with the downward trend that it's been seeing. So let's go to like maybe a year. Well, it's actually been doing pretty well. It hit a resistance at about $25 and has now seen a support around 22. And where are we sitting? 22.75. So it had a nice little rise to 23. I mean, this necessarily wouldn't be long, especially if you're looking for a swing trade, right? Identifying that 22 as a support and 23, almost 24 as a resistance. It does have nearly 10% potential, but again, this is like months or weeks. So definitely a swing trade. I would cut losses if it goes below really lower than 2.5% below $22, just because if it does, then you can see this continue to right back down, because it had a pretty steady rise from 16 to 22. So I think once it's been bouncing pretty well at this 22 support. So if you guys can see that, and this is right where the RSI is. So right at 22, and it's more in between. When it's around 23, 24, it's right in between the RSI. So it's not necessarily over, and it's more in the oversold part, but I'd like for it to get a little bit closer a little bit closer to 22 before actually deciding to jump on in the technical numbers.
Yeah, of course. One more thing is, what is price to book ratio and how can I take advantage of this? What that is?
Let me see.
It's price to book ratio.
Okay, well that comes down to more like your realm of trading. So that's more like for value investing and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually looking into their like all their Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 reports, and all the disclosures. But especially when it comes to day trading, me personally, that's definitely an area of improvement that I can look into. And again, the more the better that you'll do. But when it comes to value investing and stuff like that, because I'm more of a day trader and more of a momentum trader now, I don't look too much into the company. All I focus on are more like technical, in a sense, indicators, and volume are really one of the two biggest things that I focus on.
Using Fidelity for the $1,000 challenge if you're flagged as a day trader on Robinhood.
No, I think it's not bad, but the reason why is because of their commissions are $4.95, right?
Yeah.
$4.95, so that's $10 that you're at risk every buy and sell that you have. Meaning that if you're shooting for that 2.3%, I mean, you're bringing in like $23, $24, meaning that you're actually bringing in net proceeds of $14, which is half of really what you should be bringing in. So it's not bad. It will still at least help you stay on track, but realistically, Robinhood would be more ideal for that. Overall, that's going to be, that's pretty it for the questions. I think something just got set off. But overall, I can't thank you guys enough again for the support. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. It's actually just past 1 o'clock. So one of my videos did go up already, and it was kind of just talking about when I filmed my fall on my motorcycle. So if you guys want to stay tuned for that. But for all those that want to, in a sense, be part of Tech Solutions, or want to get more exposed to the basics and fundamentals of trading, stocks or penny stocks or long-term or value investing, whatever it is that you want to get into, it is a free networking group. The link is provided for you down in the description. I'd love to be a part of your success. And one of the things that we do great within this group is sharing best practices and sharing mistakes in an effort to promote growth. So, click on the link down below. And for all those that are participating in that $1,000 challenge, if you guys, in a sense, can tag me on your post once you guys, whatever profit you guys bring in, feel free to tag me. My Instagram is linked down below. Feel free to tag me just because I'd love to recognize you for your, reward or your accomplishment, whatever it is that you want to call it, for your profit. As within the group for doing so well. So I want to make sure that I give you guys credit for everything that you guys do, making this group so successful, right? If you guys can like this video, we'd greatly appreciate it. And if you guys could subscribe, that would be great as well. Do you have anything else that you want to say? No, you're good?
That's it.
All right, guys, and then we are going to be having our helpful video that's going to go live at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.